let's move from black and white. Either I'm stuck or I'm growing. And right now I'm stuck, Karla. I'm stuck and I want to be growing. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. At any given moment, we're all stuck and we're growing. It's not one or the other. And so, how about you realize that right now you're stuck? Let's just accept that, just like you said before. We have to admit where we're at right now. The more we struggle, the more we feel resistance and feel stuck, the more we'll feel stuck. It's like an oxymoron. Like, have you ever played one of those finger puzzles where you stick your fingers and you try to pull it out and it gets tighter? Have you ever done that? Or the trick to get the puzzle, your fingers out of the puzzle, is to relax. It's actually to relax and then slip your fingers out. Instead of yanking it, it makes it tighter. Or quicksand. When you start kicking your feet in quicksand, it'll go deeper. It's like, truly the answer to everything we've been talking about today is to.
Hello, Karla. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Yair.
Great to see you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for the precious California time. It looks like a beautiful day out there. And because it's a beautiful day, I want to, just dive right deep inside into the beautiful value that you have to give, especially these days. And of course, you'll soon also introduce a little bit more about yourself, but you help many people, also deal with their feelings, deal with that feeling deep inside that many of us feel, even if it outside looks like we're doing good and we're successful. But someplace inside we feel stuck. I don't know in what field it would be, but today we have so much kind of time that gives us more time to think about where we're stuck, where things doesn't like don't work. Back in the days, you had to wake up in the morning. You just came back from exercise, but like back, I don't know, 150 years ago, people went for whatever, like get the water from the well, hunting, whatever. And today we have so much time that is available, even though we're always kind of busy, but we do have time to think. And that's why I think we also must feel stuck. So with all the beautiful work that you do, I would love you to share some before the tips on how to get unstuck. Why are the reasons that you think that people get stuck? And then we'll talk about how do we get unstuck.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me because I know that you as well, right? We're kindred spirits. Clearly we connected because we really do the same thing. So I just want to first start off with thank you for having me and thank you for everybody watching. He creates amazing content as well. That's birds of a feather flock together. So we're here to serve and to help, and I'm just so grateful to have this conversation because it's so important. So on the habit of getting unstuck, feeling stuck, that's something that I love to do every single day. I'm passionate about it. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist here in the States. So psychotherapy, traditional talk therapy, and helping people with mental health and all sorts of things like that. But I'm also a mindset coach, and that's the kind of content that I create. I love to create conscious content. So getting unstuck and this topic of us feeling stuck and kind of getting over the things that hold us back is definitely my specialty. I speak for myself with, the whole reason why I'm attracted to this type of work is because I myself was stuck for way too long. I mean, I guess there's not a way too long because each person's, journey is individual, and it can feel like, we beat ourselves up like, oh my God, why am I still here? Like, are you joking? Here's another year, here's another month, here's another decade of me
Yeah.
doing the same things or experiencing the same roadblocks. And so I'll just start with kind of saying, and I would love to have a conversation like, for me, feeling stuck was because I was ignorant, period. I didn't know. I did not know what I did not know. I had a lot of pride. I had a lot of just closed mindedness. I thought I knew when people would give me advice or say, hey, have you read this book? Or I was like, yeah, I know that. I know
I'm
that.
fine. I'm good.
I'm good. I don't need anything else. And as I look back when I used to say that, I'm like, even today, if I ever hear the words I know coming out of my mouth, which maybe I've already said it on this call, probably, it's me saying, I don't need anything else. I'm good. I'm not good. No, I'm never good, ever, for the rest of my life. I don't ever know. I want to not know and be in a state of openness and receptiveness and taking in more wisdom because as far as I'm concerned, growth and expansion is a lifelong process that never ends. And so I switched something helpful for me. If you find yourself saying, I know, I switched it to, you're right. Tell me more. That's interesting.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. You basically dive deep inside. Also know many times in the relationships, also in that world. And when, like people talk about all the conversations what they have, whether it's with their partner or the dates, and it's like, but sometimes like we feel bored that like you don't really have what to talk about. And if they'll do exactly what you just now said, it kind of like, oh, interesting, and like dive deep inside into each topic, we'll see that much more will unfold in any conversation, and it will create a much better relationship. But that was just sliding a little bit outside. uh, but I wonder, you said just now that, that even like when so you kind of say, okay, you kind of let it, if to say that you let it be, like you let it yourself say, okay, I know, but then you also have that curiosity mindset. How could someone have the curiosity? Usually, yeah, okay. Usually, when I feel stuck, I don't, I'm not really in the best mood. Okay, wow, I want to know more, or things like that. Like, how does someone take themselves out of wherever they are right now in order to get to that curiosity mindset? And I think it's beautiful, and it's crucial to have it. But how do I get there when I don't feel like, wow,
Yeah.
let's think about it more.
Yeah. That's the thing, because if we're already feeling dumpy and we already feel stuck and we feel crappy, the damage is done in the sense of whatever we're thinking and whatever we are stressed about has already reached the physical manifestation. And so I want you to think about, everything in this universe, as far as we know, is either energy or matter, either unseen, seen, um, you know, finite or infinite. I'm sorry, infinite or finite. And cause and effect. Let's just put it that way. So, emotions and feeling like crap is an effect, it's
Hmm.
a symptom. Well, what's the cause? Something that's going on in our mind or in our environment. There's a cause. So, that's why a lot of people can struggle with, like, okay, I feel like crap. I don't want to do anything. I don't have the energy to do anything. I can't even get up and brush my teeth. I can't do anything. Okay. So that's how we feel. That is something that is normal, meaning it's just a reaction that your body is having to a stimulus, either from inside or outside, period. Okay. Now what? Focus on what's one thing, even 1% of something that we can focus on that might be good. Just put it that way. What's one thing? All right, well, I'm alive. Some people even say, well, that's, to me right now, that's not really good either. Right? Okay, I have warm socks on my feet. I can breathe. Um, I have one person that loves me. I have a dog. Whatever it is, the power of leaning into something that is positive in your life when everything's going terrible, your ability to switch your focus to something more positive is where you start. I know it sounds so trite and I know it sounds so simple and so cliche, but remember, cliches are only cliches because they're repeated over and over. They're truths repeated that we're so tired of hearing. So when we hear it, we roll our eyes and we go, that's so cliche. Cliches are true. That's why they're
Right.
repeated so much. So I hope that answers your question, meaning, like, what can we do when we do feel crappy or stuck in that moment? Like, how can we start digging out of that rut? Just focus on what gratitude. And I know that's also a cliche. I used to like roll my eyes and be like, oh, I don't want to be grateful. Um, but that's the answer. What's one thing you
Yeah.
can be grateful for?
I love what you said about gratitude. I'm a huge believer in gratitude.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes when we say gratitude, so like, oh no, everything's great in life, it's all good. No, there are things that are challenging, there are things that are hard, but it doesn't take away all the beauty that we have. So I think when we say gratitude, and me personally, like for many years, I used to say like have the gratitude part, but like underneath I used to resist reality because there were things I
Hmm.
said, yeah, I'm good, I'm great, but like I wasn't really accepting what it is. So today I learned that first accept, surrender to
Hmm.
whatever it is, because if something happened, it means it had to happen. Now it's my job to learn the lesson, and then I'll bring inside gratitude because, like you said, and you said it really beautiful, Karla. Like you said, socks. Okay, many times we don't even think about the fact that our feet are warm when we have socks. Like the most amazing things in life are the ones we take for granted. So if someone will
Yes.
say like have nothing to be grateful for, come on, are you serious? Like there's so many things to be grateful for. I remember once a friend asking me, well, it's easy to say, but how do I really like how do I really feel grateful for it? So I told him, like you said before, and I love that you said it, like it's a practice all of our life. We're in the game the whole life. You mentioned that
Hmm.
before. And like anything in life, if we want to get good at it, we need to practice. So
Yes.
nothing different over here. And I told him you could imagine not having feet or not being able to see or not being if you love a cookie or whatever it is that something they really like and you're able to do. Now
Hmm.
imagine that you can do it and feel it, and then you'll be able to be grateful more. But what I want to ask you is that no, now we spoke about if someone doesn't really want, I won't say he doesn't want, maybe he wants somewhere deep inside. But right now, let's say let's put things on the table. They feel that they don't have the energy even to think about positive things. So you're saying one small thing. But if someone now comes up to you and says, "Hey, Karla, listen, I heard you help a lot of people, and I would love your help. I am, I'm trying to be positive, but I still feel I'm stuck. I feel like I'm not moving anywhere. Like I am. I know I'm saying thank you for this, thank you for that. I'm being grateful, but I still feel I'm stuck." What do you say to
Hmm.
someone like that?
Hmm. Well, it goes back to the feeling. Accept the feeling. What's wrong with feeling stuck?
Well, usually we want to grow in life, and
Yeah,
if we're feeling stuck, so we feel that we're not doing whatever it
yeah,
is we're meant to do.
yeah. It's perfect. So I would say to you, if you were the person, like what I'm hearing you say is, let's move from black and white. Either I'm stuck or I'm growing. And right now I'm stuck, Karla. I'm stuck and I want to be growing. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. At any given moment, we're all stuck and we're growing. It's not one or the other. And so, how about you realize that right now you're stuck? Let's just accept that, just like you said before. We have to admit where we're at right now. Just admit it only takes a second. I feel stuck and I feel like garbage. Just sit in that for a minute and observe it. Just observe it. Don't judge it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't resist it. Don't try to fix it. Don't change it. Just observe it. And that is such a powerful practice. There's Rupert Spira and a couple other really great authors, just in the healing or just psychology world. Really, Dan Siegel is a really great um, psychiatrist, and he talks a lot about mental health. About let's observe our emotions instead of absorb our emotions. And so I think actually Rhonda Byrne, who was the author of The Secret, she had another book, she had many other books, but one of them was The Greatest Secret. It was released in 2020. If you haven't looked up that book, it is brilliant, and it talks everything you're speaking to right now about emotions and how we get out of our emotions, because we can feel bogged down, weighted down, like stuck. Like, I'm sorry, Karla, I get it. I'm trying to think positive, but I'm stuck, 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 stuck. And it's at a feeling. It literally is a feeling. And so that book talks about how we can observe, like really step back and notice how we're feeling and accept it. But a lot of times we're like, absolutely not. I'm not going to accept this. If I accept this, then it's going to stick around. It's quite literally the opposite. Once you accept it, it actually goes away. So acceptance, if someone did come up to me and say, "Hey, Karla, I'm thinking positive, but I still feel crap," it's like, okay, let's just stop right there. Literally, let's sit down on a bench and just be quiet for a couple minutes and just notice what you're feeling. And they'll be like, well, shh, close your eyes. Notice where you're feeling it in your body. What does it feel like? What is it? If you could use your imagination, what color would it be? How heavy is it? Can you pinpoint to why, what situation is causing you to feel? We know all the answers. So each of us, and this is the thing, if someone were to come up to me, like you said, ask me for the answer or ask me for help. We're trained to do that, go outside of us for the answers. But truly, any good teacher would say, you have the answers already. I'll help guide you and sit next to you, but you are the expert of your own life. You have the answers. But many people, purport to be gurus and like, they have degrees and all these things like, I'll help you. Let me show you what to do. It's like, no, nobody can help anybody. Only people can help themselves. And so a good teacher, and I hope to be that type of person, I would lead them back to themselves.
I think that's exactly the scary part. So
Yep.
I'll tell you what, so you just now said, go deep inside. There's a saying, in order to heal, you need to feel. Many times those feelings, like you're like, okay, Karla just now told us to feel, but we're not sure what we're feeling, how we're feeling. And I understand that you're there to guide. So basically you're hoping people use their own, like you're giving them like you're kind of guiding them in their map. So you're not, and I really love that, because it's not that you're putting your map on theirs, you're going into their map, and maybe you're walking together on the trail, but on their trail, which is beautiful, because when we try to bring us onto someone else, that doesn't work. But what my question is, when you're saying like to feel that feeling, how do I know where to start? Because right now I'm feeling stuck. You're saying feel that feeling, but maybe it's something much deeper. Maybe it's not the feeling that I have right now that was caused from a certain thought that caused this feeling. Maybe this feeling is from something that I felt, or a certain whatever, something that happened to me like way back in the past, in my childhood. Like how do I go back and feel that feeling, like the root feeling that maybe
Mm-hmm.
happened a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and since then that's causing all the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, that's my specialty also. I do this every single day. And so this is the truth. Every single thing that we feel, emotions, are just basically neurotransmitters and hormones that are it's like a pharmacy of our brain that is sending off signals to our nervous system and to our cells, and that's how we feel. So the brain is the mechanism that unleashes the emotion. Okay. And so we can have emotion two ways, either from our like survival brain, meaning there we touch something hot and all of a sudden whoosh, we get danger. It's like our survival brain, like they say it's like the lizard brain or the old caveman brain. We hear a boom and we go like this. Like, I didn't think, oh my God, that's really scary. Maybe we're being bombed. I'm going to go like this. It happens in a flash. So we have reactions like just built into this mechanism of our body. But most of the time, it's unconscious. And that's the tricky part. We're not consciously aware of the thoughts or the programming from childhood that are causing these deep feelings of feeling stuck or feeling bad. And mostly it does come from childhood, meaning think of yourself as like, our cell phones. iPhones, right, have an operating system. I mean, all phones have an iOS, they call it. The operating system. And so it's the software. That's like the unseen. So think of the phone is the physical body. This is you. And depending on the operating system, the software that is downloaded is just like our programming. Well, where did our programming come from? Psychologists have studied for years that usually between the ages of 0 and 8 is when we're growing. Our subconscious mind, we're sponges, we're wide open. That's how we learn the language we learn, the foods we eat, all of the conditioning that surrounds us. That's how we are programmed. The language, kind of like not just the language we speak, but how we speak. Are we proper or do we curse? We just take in our surrounding environment and we become programmed. Now, when we get older, we start to notice, maybe through mistakes or other people's feedback of like, what's wrong with you? Or what happened to you? And you say, what are you talking about? We don't even question. That's just how we operate. We're programmed that way. But if we continue to suffer, right, feel emotional pain, we realize, oh crap, something's wrong with my operating system. Something in my programming is causing me to feel this way. Okay. So you say, Karla, I'm feeling this certain way. How do I get to the root of it? Okay. So, for example, say you felt really unworthy. You had problems in relationships and you had really low self esteem. You felt really unworthy and you're like 25 years old. If you were my client, I would say, okay, let's sit with that. How does that feel? It feels like crap. Okay, close your eyes. Where do you feel it in your body? I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my stomach. Whenever I think about it, my stomach just churns and it makes me feel sick. Okay, just notice that. So I would kind of float back and say, tell me the last time you felt unworthy. Well, like 6 months ago when we had a meeting at work and I walked in and my boss yelled at me, it made me feel that feeling. Okay. So I'd write that down. Okay, let's float back a little bit further. Tell me about high school. Tell me about college. When did you feel unworthy? So then we would collect all the pieces that had to do with that. And then we would try to find the earliest memory of ever feeling unworthy, no matter how small. And we would start there. And then there's different processes. I use EMDR, which is bilateral stimulation. It stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Or I use IFS, internal family systems. They're somatic based experiences. Yeah. And so it goes into the body, into the unconscious part, rather than the psychotherapy, talk therapy just being in our heads, because we can't access that stuff with just talk therapy being in our logical mind. We have to kind of go below the surface. I say below, below the head into the body and start exploring that. You can do this on your own. You can reach out to help, for a therapist or for a coach or whoever you want. But just know that getting to the roots of it means getting to the roots of it, the earliest memory of it, and you have the answers. You really do. If you just journaled or sat and meditated, prayed about it, whatever your practice is, or it can be therapy, whatever you want. You have the answers and you can get to the root of it and just explore it.
Okay, so let's say first I really connect to what you said of getting to the root of it, and I think it's really crucial because when we get to the root of it, many times we understand that what we thought that is what's holding us back, that's not the story at all. It's a total different story. But then when you get to the root of it, so is that the time that we basically would change your interpretation to that certain event,
Yes.
or that we do that at the beginning?
No, you get to the root of it, right? Okay, so say the unworthiness was when I was 6 years old, my teacher told me that I was stupid in front of the whole class and everybody started laughing. Say that was the first time I can remember feeling this feeling. Okay, so we would notice that because usually we repress it. Not every day you go around thinking about this terrible thing that happened to you when you were 6. We first sit with it. And then if we were doing EMDR, it's a whole process, which you can look up. But you basically desensitize yourself, meaning you take the charge out of this memory network. Because if you think about it, when something really traumatic happens to us, and at the time we might not think it's traumatic, remember that, because we're in shock and we just like push it off, like, oh, we just brush it off. And so, just like a physical wound on our body, we have psychological wounds. So say me and you were on a hike or something and I scratched my arm really hard and it didn't really hurt that bad. I was like, okay, let's just keep going. Let's keep hiking. And I just didn't even pay attention to it. If I don't clean it and pay attention to the wound, it's just going to get deeper and deeper and bigger and bigger. Well, I can see that on my physical body. But when it comes to, our psychological, mental, emotional body, it's not so easy to see those things. Because
Sure.
when we feel scratched or wounded emotionally, we're taught to brush it off. We don't want to bother anybody. We don't want to deal with it. We would rather drink or eat or numb or go, on the internet. We never, but it, just like the physical body, if we do not clean it up, wash it up, make sure it's, nice and covered up and healed, it'll continue to get infected or get bigger or start, infecting other parts of the body, so to speak. And so that's why it's so important to get to the root of it, clean up that wound, and it honestly takes care of all the other ones. It's a process. But that's with kind of EMDR. With IFS, you truly go back and it's kind of like rewriting the story, perceiving it in a different, more adaptive way. How else can we look at it now that we're older? Well, for example, I was working with someone the other day, and it was a story of when this person was 11 years old, was getting yelled at by his father, and it was a really traumatic incident. And he felt responsible for his mother, to protect his mother from his dad's anger. And he always felt so anxious and responsible for helping other people. And he felt like a loser because he could not protect his mother when his father was angry. And I said, and he's like in his 50s now. And I said, okay, we were doing a parts work exercise. And I said, okay, think about that 11-year-old boy. Okay. And he's now as old as his dad was. I say, what if an 11-year-old walked in and thought it was his responsibility to protect and save you? He goes, that's ridiculous. An 11-year-old, I said, okay, right there. He switched his perception of, oh my God, how ridiculous was it for me to think at 11 years old I was responsible for 40 and 50-year-old adults. So it was kind of in that moment of washed over with realization of, oh, it wasn't my fault. Oh, wow, I actually can forgive myself. Was it sad? Yeah. Was it painful? Yeah. But was I responsible? No. Because it shifted that experience. But first we kind of got to go to the scene of the crime first, so to speak,
Sure.
to kind of look at it.
Wow. I'm sure only that alone could really help that human being in also different fields of life. Because the second you kind of you let that go, so like many other things also come right after that. And like I'm thinking about different things that you said, and so many things come up to my mind because you said a lot of beautiful things that can really help me help other people. But I will focus on one word that you said, and I love that because you said, like, I think a few minutes ago, I didn't look exactly when, but you said that we're always also a process of growth, and we're also stuck. Okay, so and then you said right now you said it's a process, and I think when we understand those two things, everything is fine. It's all good. Like that's how we get unstuck. Because the fact that someone is now coming to you, Karla, and saying, "Hey, I'm stuck," that means he's unstuck. Why? Because someone that is thinking about it, that is trying to grow, that he's in some type of movement. Maybe he feels that he's stuck, but the fact someone that is not that is really stuck, he doesn't even think like he stays in his place, and when you stay in your place, eventually you just go down. So I think that only that awareness of, wow, I feel stuck, that means I have a growth awareness inside me that wants to grow. So like you said, we're also growing because we're trying to grow. We might feel stuck in a way, but it's a process. And I think that word, it's a magic. Someone came to me, one of my clients, about say 2-3 weeks ago, and he had a really sad story. His wife passed away, and had a few kids. I don't wish it to anyone. And he told me, like, hey, sometimes I feel like I'm able to get over my challenges and be there for my kids, but sometimes like I feel that I'm crashing, and that he like really beats up himself, and it's not fine. And why am I doing that? So the same thing like you just now said with the 11-year-old, like with your client that came to you and he said, like, why should that 11-year-old be like in charge? Same thing here. Like I told him, like, you need to understand that you can't like be in charge now of all of your emotions all the time, be in this path of, I'm always feeling good, I'm always doing great. No, like if someone else would have came to you, you would have told them, oh, don't worry, it's a process. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, but as long as like in the long term you're going up, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
So I think having that understanding that it's a process, and another thing that can really help is that, what would you tell your friend if he comes to you with the same situation? Because many time, what like for us, we'll criticize ourselves, but if it's a really good friend of ours, so then like we'll know to give that right advice. So maybe we should also give it to ourselves. So I really connected to those words that you said. I think they're really, 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 really important. Uh, you said over here a lot of beautiful things, and I want you now, if someone's listening and say they're telling themselves, okay, I heard what you said. You said acceptance, you said gratitude. You spoke about IFS and the other work that you do. What is one thing that after I understood that, I also understood the process. Let's say one or two things I can actually do right now. I'm sitting at home. I'm feeling stuck. I understand. I got it. It's process all good. What can I do right now?
Find something that makes you feel good. One thing. One thing. For example, because I am prone to, like when I was younger, I don't experience it all the time now, thank goodness, but we all have our ups and downs. So whenever I'm in a funk or depressive state, meaning like for whatever reason, unconscious or out circumstantial, I just feel so like hopeless. Like I don't want to get up. I just have these funks, right? What I do is the most important time is first thing in the morning, right when you wake up. I'm talking before the lights even go on. I push play, I go to YouTube, free, right? I love YouTube. And I listen to something that lifts me up. For example, if you're familiar, just look it up. Earl Nightingale, The Magic Word. The Magic Word. It's a 12-minute audio all about attitude and mindset. I push play on that. I did it this morning. I push play on it and I make my bed, I brush my teeth. I'm listening to it as I'm getting ready in the morning because I do not trust my mind in the morning. Because when I first wake up, I will start, okay, what do I got to do today? What about this? What about this? And I'll start, let me just tell you, this is a master computer and it'll start running. If our software is not, our operating system is full of virus code or just worry or anxiety or whatever we're going through, do not trust that crap. Put something else in there, reprogram yourself. So if you were saying, if someone's sitting at home right now and they're feeling like crap, push play on a YouTube video about positive thinking. There's a great audio. They're all free, by the way. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking, anything by Earl Nightingale, anything by Napoleon Hill, or whoever speaks to you. Positive thinking, positive affirmations. Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Bob Proctor, all these people. Just Les Brown. Woo, Les Brown got me some serious stuff. You gotta put some good in here. When it's bad, here's an easy way to say it. When it's bad, fill it with some good. Don't feel like you have to fight the bad, fix the bad, and then it'll be good. No, you'll just stay fighting the bad. Just focus on the good. And lastly, I think something you had said about the more we struggle, the more we feel resistance and feel stuck, the more we'll feel stuck. It's like an oxymoron. Like, have you ever played one of those finger puzzles where you stick your fingers and you try to pull it out and it gets tighter? Have you ever done that? Or the trick to get the puzzle, your fingers out of the puzzle, is to relax. It's actually to relax and then slip your fingers out. Instead of yanking it, it makes it tighter. Or quicksand. When you start kicking your feet in quicksand, it'll go deeper. It's like, truly the answer to everything we've been talking about today is to surrender and relax. And that's the last thing we want to do, but that's the answer. And so it's okay if you're not good at it first, or you're not like a Jedi master and like a, enlightened Buddha. None of us are. But that's the answer. So lean into the relaxing, surrendering, acceptance of what is, and try to find anything you're grateful for. Have fun with it. Have it be so silly, but you're grateful for. Like, I'm so grateful for my fingernail. I mean, have fun with it. Make it silly, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I think that's so crucial what you just now said about doing something that makes us feel good before we go for the rest of the steps. Because when we do that, and for each person, it's different. I used to try to help people in the past through like, okay, I like doing this. So I'll also help them like do the same thing. I'm like, no, So, and you said it, you said each individual has their own thing that makes them feel good. And out of that place, now do the rest of the steps. Now go into, go surrender, go accept, have gratitude, think about the next step. Well, those are amazing, but do it from a place that you're in a positive place. Now, each person has his own way to get into that state, and I don't
Mhm.
believe that there's someone that doesn't. Each person has. Now they need to find their own special way. So I think that's really crucial. And thank you very much for sharing that. And the main thing that you said that, and I was like, that's the really magic is the surrendering part, because whatever we resist will increase. And
Mhm.
surrender doesn't mean sitting on the couch and doing nothing. It
Mhm.
means taking action, but out of a place of surrender. And sometimes, for myself, I'm also like my mind goes and try like so that like I try to be in control of so many things, and through life I just learned that. And I'm a student until the day I die. I'll
Yeah.
always be practicing, but we always get better. And what I learned is that when we surrender to something, so first we understand that there's, I say God, someone could say universe, but there's a power that is much greater than ourselves. And when we are here to serve a purpose that is greater than ourselves, so maybe we should also listen to that energy, to that power, to God, and just surrender. And if it's hard for someone to do, what I told people, go outside, look at the stars, like
Mhm.
understand that it's huge. Like and we're
Mhm.
amazing, but we're
Mhm.
this small compared to whatever is happening here.
Yeah,
So
it's about being humble, noticing that there
100,
is, you're not in control, surrendering to the greater power. And so if you've ever been in the ocean and got caught in a riptide, if you get like stuck, what do
yeah,
they say? Don't fight the current. You
exactly,
relax and let it carry you. You'll die
exactly
if
that,
you fight it. And that's what we feel like inside when we feel stuck. We're dying inside. We'll stop fighting the current.
exactly.
Surrender.
So surrender and acceptance is so crucial. Just to understand that doesn't mean not to do anything. It means
Yeah.
to do, but from a different state of mind. And just one last thing. So you spoke about, going behind that feeling and then maybe changing that thought, that like observing and changing the interpretation.
Perception.
Yeah, we say when we change the way we think, so basically everything else changes. But many people, you say everyone could do that, I got it. But many people, and also me sometimes, also a lot of times, we have a challenge doing it on our own. Is there a way that people could reach you if someone wants help? And I know you help many people, so you could guide them through
Yeah. Yeah.
identifying that root thought that basically caused that feeling of stuckness.
Yeah. Get help. Contact Yair, right? Like contact him. I know he does amazing coaching too. I coach myself. I'm a therapist as well. If there's therapists in your area, reach out for help. We don't have to do this on our own. We're wired to connect with other human beings and, be open to it. I was so resistant. I didn't want to have a coach when I was younger. I thought I knew everything, right? And I was like, they just want my money. It's like, yeah, until I'm like rock bottom and I'm like, take all my money because I have, you know, don't wait until you get to rock bottom. Be open. Use your intuition because there's different, like somebody who might want to work with you might not want to work with me. Somebody who wants to work with me might not, it's like some people
For
want men,
sure.
some people want women, some people want people who talk fast
You
and who
could
are
connect.
animated like me. Some people want somebody who's very quiet and slow. That's not me. But we're all attracted to different energies. So I would say if you are struggling and you're open to it, start opening your mind and asking your inner self, God, the universe, whatever you call it, show me the way, show me the next step. Lead me to my next mentor, to my next teacher, to the person who's going to get me out of this rut. If you feel stuck, you do not have to do it by yourself. There are billions of people ready and willing to help you. And when I realized that, because I didn't trust anybody. I thought someone always had different motives. But I looked at myself, I said, Karla, do you have different motives? I said, no, my heart's pure. Well, what makes you think other people's aren't? you know it's like trust other people. So yes, it's my jam. I love doing that. It's my name, Karla Elizondo on all socials, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. all the stuff. But yeah, so I have the therapy practice and then I have the coaching practice. And then karlaelizondo.com, you can probably find everything there. And yeah, the help is there.
Amazing. I'll also put the links below, and I really, I recommend people to contact you because I saw the beautiful work that you've done. And I'll just end with one of your last videos. You were talking about there more about habits, but you were saying that, in order to create a new habit, so we need to put something in that empty space. Same thing over here, when we're feeling stuck, when we're feeling nothing's moving, we can't just leave it empty like for things to come in because things will come in, but they won't if we won't make that conscious choice, the one that actually helps us. So it will be negative thoughts and it will be negative feelings. So make that choice, contact people like Karla, contact people like your family, people you can trust, and fill in the gap, but with things that serve you and not with things
Yes.
that will take you down. So Karla, thank you very much for your time. It was really, really amazing value. And again, continue hoping the world, and we'll see you hopefully sooner than later.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great day.